Hello guys, it's your boy Wings of Redemption, and it's been a while since I actually got around to doing an actual commentary over any type of gameplay. It's actually been something along the lines of about 3.5 months. But I wanted to do this because one of the things that I actually do get privated all the time is, hey man, want to play Destiny? Can we play Destiny? Did you pick up Destiny? And I responded to this on social media, and I said I did not pick up Destiny. But I kind of wanted to go out on a limb and go and give a little bit more in depth on why I didn't pick Destiny up. And it has a lot to do with the fact is I've played the game before. And you're like, so, well, yeah, of course, Wings. Everybody played the game before. It was in beta. It was a public beta. That's true. I did play the public beta. I did give it a chance in public beta. But I knew going into it what I was going to expect, and it was exactly what I expected. And how can I say I've played the game before? I played World of Warcraft when it launched back in the early 2000s. And I played that game for about, I'm going to say a day. I have about a day into World of Warcraft, 24 hours. I want to say 19-ish, because I want to give myself like an hour level. I made it to level 19 Warlock on the Orc side. That's where I have. Whatever it took, however long it takes to get level 19 Warlock, which isn't very high, that's how long I played World of Warcraft. And you're like, well, Wings, you didn't even max out World of Warcraft. You don't know the full experience. You didn't do the raids. Well, I didn't do it myself, but my brother, he got addicted to World of Warcraft for years. Like, he played, he raided, he was like, he'd come home from work and he'd go raiding. He'd like be setting up shit raids up before he left for work. That's the way the shit rolled for a while in our house, you know, because we were really pro Blizzard. So, with that being stated, I got a lot of experience with World of Warcraft, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, and it wasn't because my brother played it all the time. I just didn't like the game. The game itself felt like I was getting off work to go back to work. What does that mean? Well, it goes, well, you get off the damn place or the spaceship or whatever the hell it is in World of Warcraft, and you go collect your 10 pieces of deer meat. You go pick your 25 motherfucking flowers over there, and after you get all the candy in Candyland, you might level up. Granted, that kind of quest is what most games are. Most games are fetch quests. World of Warcraft is a fetch quest that you pay for. You pay $15 a month for World of Warcraft, or you used to. And I'm like, dude, I'm not paying $15 a month for a subpar combat system that fights by itself, for a level up system that pretty much does it for itself, to run monsters that take like 45 guys to beat, and then coordination. It just wasn't fun. So that's the standard for MMO. World of Warcraft pretty much created the standard for massive multiplayer online. You know, there's other people around the time that tried to do it. Square tried to do it with Final Fantasy, not once, not twice, but I think 3 times now they're going to be trying to do that bullshit. You know, you have Warhammer, which I think did it successfully to a degree. You have, you know, Elder Scrolls Online trying to party like it's 2000 up in this motherfucker. You know, trying to charge, you know, money on top of Xbox Live and PSN to play their stupid Elder Scrolls Online game, which I said that game was going to flop too, but guess what? That motherfucker did. It flopped. It's going to flop, and Destiny is going to flop. And I was saying Destiny is going to flop, and you automatically get branded a hater when you say this kind of stuff. Well, keep in mind, I grew up as in the PlayStation Nation. I did have a tour on Xbox for about a year, about 2 years. I was an Xbox guy toward the end of the system lifespan. Mainly that came from being on YouTube for as long as I was, and Xbox provided things or safeguards that PlayStation didn't. But after I've kind of faded away from gaming commentary as a whole, I went back to PlayStation. I play Dark Souls on PlayStation. I play, you know, most games I play on the PlayStation. And that's just because that's where I'm comfortable with, where I like the controller, and the system I preferred in the next generation was the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One, so it just makes sense to try to play everything on PlayStation to go get my trophies and stuff. But we're about 5 minutes into this motherfucker, and I'm doing something that I always criticize people for doing. Get to the meat and potatoes. So I have about 4 hours of Destiny, you know, in me. Like, I've played Destiny for about 4 hours, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt when I'm speaking about gameplay in general. But from what I've seen in the beta, and it looks pretty much about the same from the gameplay I've seen. I've watched Eddie the Chump play some of it. I've watched a guy named Bowser play some of it. I've watched a guy named I forgot his name. I watched another guy play it, and I watched a couple streams. I kind of just skipped through people's streams, watched them play it. I think I watched XCal play it too, and it's pretty much the same shit. It's a bunch of fetch quests or bullet sponges. And a buddy of mine, Jason, he even no, not it wasn't even Jason. It was Mr. Anderson LP, another guy I watched a lot of Dark Souls from, and he was sitting there talking about it and how, games like Dark Souls kind of ruin games like Destiny, and the reason is bosses aren't really skill-based anymore. And that's the truth. I ran into some of these like super pro, like level 8 massive bosses, and they're pretty much bullet sponges. You got like 6, 7 guys. I think it was 6. I don't know, it might have been 4. I know a fire team's 3, but I think it was 2 fire teams. Some have been 6. Yeah, 6 guys just pop, 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 just dumping ammo into this guy. And 25 minutes later, you're trying to chop down this cherry tree like you're George Washington, and the bitch just doesn't fall. You run out of ammo, the game gives you more ammo, you run out of that ammo, go it again and again and again. It's not fun. It's a bullet sponge, and it's annoying. Like, it doesn't give you the satisfaction of killing something like you would in, for example, Dark Souls. One of the bosses I got stuck on in Dark Souls when I first started playing was the Capra Demon. And I died and died and died to this motherfucking Capra Demon. Anybody that's ever played the game knows that's one of the bosses you die to when you first start. That one and the Gargoyles. And you eventually beat him. And when you beat him, you feel uplifted. And that's one of the things that Destiny struggles with. It struggles with that uplifting feeling. It also struggles with any kind of credible difficulty scaling. Like for me, I'm a guy that likes to play the games on the hardest setting possible. And when I put that setting up and all it does is knock the monster's health up to the point that I'm just gonna be struggling for ammo, that kind of sucks. It's like kind of playing Oblivion on Impossible. I don't know if you guys ever turn that little slider all the way up in Oblivion. Shit ruins you. It does. It ruins you hard. And but the fact is, in Oblivion, there's ways to do that. And I'm sure there's probably ways to do that in Destiny too. But it just makes bullet sponges that much more of a bullet sponge, if that makes any kind of sense. I can't really speak on the co-op aspect, but I've heard people talk about it that it's a co-op kind of experience that sucks. That co-op kind of experiences because nobody really wants to join your fire team and it's kind of hard to get people on fire team, but this is the kind of stuff people criticize me for. This is me talking out my ass. I have no experience with that fire team bullshit. I've just heard people say that it's really, really slow co-op experience if you want to play with people other than your friends. But it's an MMO. So I knew exactly what I was getting into a Destiny as an MMO. It was going to be, you're going to pay $60 for the base platform of a game, and then it's going to be a play-to-win game from then on out. And don't be surprised, I'm going to call some stuff right now, that this game's going to get 5 DLC, and the DLC is going to, basically be sold to you. I understand the PlayStation gets a couple of the DLCs for free, but it's going to get 5 or 6 DLC. It's going to be like World of Warcraft. It's going to try to expand the lifespan, and the game isn't going to be fully... You're not going to get the full grasp of the game until 9 to 10 months down the road. That's when Destiny's actually going to be worth playing, when you get all the worlds open to you, all the side DLC, all the raid missions, and then they're going to throw the microtransactions in there. What's going to happen is you're going to get people, they're going to throw, raid weapons in there, they're going to throw raid guns in there, raid armor, and that's another thing when I was playing the beta that kind of sucked, was you get stuff, and it's oh, well, this stinks. And another thing that got me down on Destiny was that I realized most of the class choices didn't really matter. I can't really speak on the end-game class choices, but at the beginning, for example, I picked the scout, the guy in the middle, the rogue type character. There was pretty much a warrior rogue wizard. They all 3 got guns, but, So the rogue character had a double jump, where my buddy, he played the wizard, he had a teleport. I had a grenade. He had like an explosion bomb. It's pretty much all the same shit. And I only got like a minute or so to wrap this up. The reason I didn't play Destiny was because I knew what an MMO is. And this being a free MMO, I knew it was going to be my cup of tea, and I knew it wasn't going to pick up or have a huge following on that I could actually reel in. And with that being said, I don't think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. I think a lot of people are buying it and trying it, and they know a lot of people are going to buy it and try it just because of the name of Bungie. That's why it's released almost 2 months before Call of Duty drops, because once November rolls around, you're going to see like just fat stacks of Destiny copies sitting on the shelves in the used games section at your GameStop for people trading that thing in for Modern Warfare, because it's going to take about 2 or 3 weeks before you max your level out. You play the same raid about 12 times, and you get tired of it, and you want to go back. I know my buddy Jason, when I was talking to, he even wanted to buy the game for me. I was like, no, dude, save your money. I don't want Destiny. And he's ready to come back and play Dark Souls again with me. And that right there should tell you how fun this game could possibly be. You're gonna level up quickly, and you're gonna have to wait for DLC. That's why Destiny's destined to fail. That's why a lot of these games are overhyped. People are overhyping these games because they want something different. One of the worst purchases I've made in recent events was my Xbox One, but my PlayStation 4 is right there with it. I mean, if I knew that the games were going to be so sparse at this point on these systems' lives, I'd rather have the $1,500 some dollars I've spent in the two systems in my pocket right now than where they're at. Because, like, I mean, I got like, what is this? I got a Braylon Home magazine. I got 3 or 4 pounds of mail. I got a copy of Call of Duty Ghosts. All this shit sitting on top of my PS4. You know, it just never gets turned on. I honestly couldn't find everything to hook my Xbox One up right now if I tried to. But I'm figured I'm going to leave this right here. What do you guys think about this commentary? Is this something you want to see more of? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm Outie 5000. It's been your boy Wings of Redemption. I don't know. Fuck. What up, fellas? It's your boy Jordan, or aka Wings of Redemption, and I want to talk about corporal punishment. I made this promise in a video I did yesterday where I talked about Adrian Peterson, and I don't want to talk about Adrian Peterson's case specifically per se, but I want to talk about the idea of what beating children actually is and why it is frowned upon and why this case is being blown out of proportion for what it is. I'm by no means an advocate for beating children. I myself was beaten up till about the age of 12 for numerous or various things, and it was a old way society's way of trying to teach or push morals. And I understand now as an adult that beating somebody pretty much makes a downward trend into other things. And you can't look at yourself and think, man, I got beat. Like me personally, I got beaten numerous of times. I can think of at least 10 or 12 different times, 10 to 12 different times that I've gotten an ass whooping in my life. And to say that it made me a better person would be false. All it kind of did was make me not want to do whatever I did at that time. And I learned the same thing through dogs. Throughout my life, we've had numerous dogs. And by no means a great certified dog trainer, but one thing I have learned through the terms of breaking house training dogs, which is mainly what I'm good at. I can't really teach them to fetch or not jump on people, but I can teach them not to shit inside, because that's something you work hard on basically mastering. You don't want to, wake up and have you a nice big pile of Play-Doh there to step on every day. But in the effect, I learned early on our first dog that if he pooped in the house and you spanked him for it or you hit him for it, it wouldn't stop him from pooping in the house. He doesn't understand that, oh, what I did was wrong, I shouldn't poop in the house. What he knows is that if he gets caught pooping in the house, he is going to get physically punished. Like, you're going to hit him, you're going to hurt him, you're going to make his body feel uncomfortable. So what does he do? Well, the first thing he does is he shits behind the couch. He'll shit behind things. He'll shit in another room that you don't see. And once he shits in that other room you don't see, like say it's a side bedroom, or maybe a guest bedroom, he goes in there, takes him a deuce, and he gets away with it. A couple days go by before you find it. Maybe you don't go in that room every day. Maybe it's just something that's, and you finally find it, and he thinks, all right, this is my spot. I can shit here. I didn't get hit for shitting here. And that's the mentality it creates. I myself, I was beaten, and as being beaten, I didn't become a bully. That's not to say that in the overall grand scheme of things, it can't create bullies. And I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I've heard people say that children that are beaten physically are more likely to commit violent crimes, and they're more likely to be bullies themselves, bully other children. And with that being said, that's all speculation to me because I've not looked into the facts. But from personal experience, I can believe that. Because I know children that got beat. I know a guy named Timothy Jordan, and he used to always brag about how his daddy whooped his ass. I remember sitting in, I think it was his 10th grade English, and I started talking to Timothy before class, and he's sitting there talking about how his daddy used to beat him while he was working on engines and stuff. And Timothy, he was a grade A bully all the way through school. Like he liked to pick on kids, he liked to be disruptive in class, and the variables are there. And if you put it with everybody else that would ever bully me or anybody else, it's believable that they all were a product of their environment. They all come from a household that thought that said it was okay to damage others, it's okay to hit. Hitting makes you feel better, so you should do it. You should instill physical dominance over another person. And in that regard, it's bad parenting. I come from the South. I come from the Deep South. And in the Deep South, if you said it was bad parenting to hit, you'd have a lot of people instantly destroy all your credibility in their eyes. But it is. It's bad parenting. It's bad parenting to hit the same reason it's bad house training to hit the dog. You reward the dog when he does well. You make the dog want to continue to do what you want him to do. And that's how you win that battle. You don't win that battle by hitting him. You win it by positive reinforcement. Let's take a more humanistic approach to this. Say a child wants a Star Crunch or whatever candy that the child likes, but it's 15 minutes before dinner. You don't want him to eat that Star Crunch and then you have to sit there and fight with him about eating dinner, because anybody that's ever had a child or had to babysit or do something, sometimes it's hard to get kids to eat, especially when they're hyped up on sugar and they don't want to sit still. So let's say he gets it anyway. Let's say it's in a candy jar and it's a trust system. So he takes the Star Crunch and you take it away from him. And he gets upset. He goes, Then, starts to want to cry and get upset. My parents' first instinct would be to hit me. That would have been their first instinct. And to say that's right, no, that's not. Because the fact is, he's upset because he's not getting what he wants, but he doesn't understand why he shouldn't have it. He just thinks like, oh, you're being mean, you're not letting me get the Star Crunch. So instead of conveying to the child why he can't have that Star Crunch, like, hey dude, 15 minutes, we got dinner, it's got more nutrients, it's better for you, it's gonna help you grow stronger, and then if you be good during dinner, we'll give you a Star Crunch. No, you hit the kid, and then all that really tells him is like, well, I can't get Star Crunches anymore, and and if I touch this, I get hit. I mean, because children's minds just like that. It's just the way it works, and that's another reason I find corporal punishment to be horrible. And a lot of people in the South grew up just with this corporal punishment system. Like I said in my video yesterday, I don't know anybody that didn't get spanked growing up. And that's not to say that every person that ever gets spanked is going to turn out to be a horrible person, or every person that gets spanked is going to turn out with some kind of mental deficiency. It's actually a very small number, but the fact is, it does promote violence. It promotes people to want to hit others. It promotes people to understand that violence helps push authority on the other figures. It gives a wrong trajectory. It makes the parent feel better. Sometimes, trust me, if you've ever been in a parent situation, sometimes you want to pick that child up and shake the shit out of that motherfucker. But being able to control yourself as a parent is what makes you the parent and the adult. If you automatically break down and think, I'm going to hit this child so he will just shut up and do what he's told, I mean, it's not much of a parent. And I understand that Adrian Peterson, which is what the spur of this conversation was doing, what he was taught and what he learned. And I feel like he's getting martyred because of the fact that he's in the public eye. And I fully understand the fact that you can't punish everybody that hits children because it opens up doors to other things. Like, what if somebody teaches their children that being gay is wrong? See, now you're walking a more fine line. There's people out there that really do not like homosexuals. They say it's against the Bible, it's against their God. And then there's other people like me that find that, being gay is just who you are. And like I've always said, I can prove to you that being gay is not a choice. And they go, yeah, prove it. And I'm like, well, when did you start liking women? You never emotionally picked the point in your life where you're like, oh, I just like women. You naturally were attracted to women. Just like guys might be naturally attracted to guys, or you might be a little bit of both. You might find both of them attractive. It's perfectly okay. We are not in any type of way having any type of population problems, population issues. Matter of fact, if you want to be gay, that's perfectly fine. I'll have 2 kids to your 0. See, that's how that works. People are still going to populate the world. Matter of fact, we're overpopulated at this point, and if agriculture would ever take some kind of major hit, billions of people would starve to death, because we don't have a system, or the planet itself, without agricultural system set up, could not support 7 billion people. It just doesn't happen. And the fact is, agriculture created life. But different topic. I'm going to say this with Louis C.K.'s. I'm going to end this video with the Louis C.K. thing. Everybody remembers Michael Vick. Michael Vick, what did he do? He beat dogs. He beat dogs. He took their teeth out of the female bulldogs so they wouldn't bite the males. He mated them, fought dogs, went to jail. That's an animal. So if my neighbor sees me beating the shit out of Chevy, I go to jail. Granted, that's the normal in society. If I'm married and I beat the shit out of my wife and my neighbor sees it, he calls me, I'm going to jail. So that's an adult woman. That's an adult woman that understands, that can very easily put herself out of the situation. Still frowned upon in society. But if I was to beat my child, some people in this world consider that helping mold them into a better person. So hitting your wife is wrong, hitting your dog is wrong, but beating your child is right. Which one of those 3 things is the most impressionable? I'm going to leave it at that. I don't agree with beating children. I personally probably won't beat my own children. And I don't feel like you should beat your children. But to send everybody to jail that ever beats their child is a fine line. To consider it child abuse to switch somebody and leave welts is a fine line. Because at that point you have to question other things. Like I said, is it considered child abuse to make your child racist? Is it considered child abuse to make your child a bigot to homosexuality? Is it child abuse to make your child do something that's not considered the norm? Maybe he wants to be Democrat or Republican. Maybe is it child abuse to make your child resent the poor people? These are all things that are bad qualities, but they happen. And sometimes you have to have a little leeway. And I don't think there's enough room in prison, mainly because it's filled up with non-violent offenders that smoke pot, to house all these supposed child abusers. And that's the end result. I don't agree with child abuse, but I don't think it's a problem that the government should regulate on the level of spankings. If Adrian Peterson took that child and beat him down and maybe broke his kneecap or broke bones, broke facial structures, left big washing gelps on him, if he did all that without remorse, yeah, throw his ass in jail. If he left big sweltering welts on the last the rest of his life, yeah, throw him in jail. But if he spanked him and the child was fighting and trying to keep him from getting spanked by using his hands, and he felt sorry about it, which he obviously did with the text messages and stuff,
It is your choice to embrace.
I think that was just a person that was brought up wrong, expressing feelings that he felt were right, and he felt like it made him a better person, and nobody else agrees with him. I don't feel like he needs to go to jail. I don't feel like he needs to lose his job over that. I feel like he needs to understand what he did was wrong and never do it again. What do you guys think? What is your opinion on child abuse? We're about 2 hours into the project right now, and I figure I want to go ahead and show you guys around. I'm doing the bitch work, so I do all the prep stuff, like I I pulled the things off the side of the carpet, pull all the nails out, and my tools. Let me show you. Pliers, cutter, pry bar. What I basically got to do is these little nails. Let's see if we can find one. Something easy. You just take this and you just pull it out. And you gotta do it for everything. We're putting hardwood laminate down. See these? This here's what I don't know what they're called. It's something that holds the carpet down. But yeah, we can see we have some severe water damage in the house because of the roof that was leaking. We also had a dishwasher that went down. So we're going to have to cut all these black spots out, place them with 3/4 inch plywood. Feeling kind of down because when we bought the house, they promised us that it had plywood down, and this is particle board. The thing about particle board, it's like meshed together like trimmings of sand and stuff, and it swells when water hits it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, and hopefully we're going to get this first big piece put in, get it all nailed down, and get the furniture put in. That's what we're doing today. Dog, about 4 o'clock. We've been at this shit since like 8 o'clock this morning. And yeah, they trying to kill me up in this motherfucker. On my hands and knees, damn, all day pulling nails. And then I got to pick up a metric fuck ton of laminate flooring. Matter of fact, let me go show you this shit. See here? All the way back there. All that's one piece. And they're going to try to cut it so that it fills up all the little gaps and holes. And it's going to be one big solid piece the whole way through. There's not going to be any seams. It's going to be seamless. This motherfucker was heavy as shit. It's hard as shit. Look at these. We're about to fall right now. I ain't even talking about the razor knife. I don't know. Regardless, this is going to be an all-day project. Like, it's 4:30 right now. I don't see us finishing until like 8 o'clock tonight. We still got to get the rug cut. After the rug's cut and it's laid down, we got to put the kicks in. After the kicks get put down, we got to, you know, kind of mop it. After it mops, we got to put all this shit back. And then we got the refrigerator sitting outside and the stove sitting outside. We got to take that and put it back in place. So yeah, lots of work. It's late. We're done. I'm done for what we're going to do right now. Still got to do the living room, and we got to let the floor settle a little bit. I'll show it to you right now. We'll sleep good tonight. Still got to let the floor settle a little bit. Still a couple things still left to trim in. I'm going to put baseboards, white baseboards on the wall. So that's why the base, you're going to put a, how big, what do you think? 6 inch baseboard, yeah. 6 inch baseboards all the way around. And yeah. Still got to get the refrigerator in.